And thank you for spending your Sunday with us. I'm Elizabeth Pran, in for Shannon Bream.
Nice to have you along. Nice to be with you at home. I'm Leland Vittert. Welcome to America's election headquarters from Washington. Hillary Clinton says she was, quote, eager for her face-to-face with the FBI after months of speculation. Agents interviewed Clinton yesterday about her use of a private email server while she was Secretary of State. Kristen Fisher here in Washington with the latest. We may not know exactly what happened in that interview, but we can certainly speculate.
Right, and there's a lot of talk that this interview, that it actually took place, is a sign that we may be nearing the end of this FBI investigation, especially since the start of the Democratic Convention is now 3 weeks from tomorrow. But when Clinton was asked by Chuck Todd on MSNBC if she was given any indication of when that might be, listen to how she responded.
I am not going to comment on the process. I have no knowledge of any timeline. This is entirely up to the department.
So Clinton is, for the most part, staying quiet about the content of her 3.5-hour meeting with FBI investigators yesterday. She says she's doing so out of, quote, respect for the process that the Justice Department is conducting. But her critics and even some of her supporters would argue that her husband did not show the same respect for that process when he met privately with Attorney General Loretta Lynch on Monday. It was an unforced error that plays right into Trump's playbook, that the Clintons are corrupt and dishonest, that they play by a different set of rules. Well, this morning on Fox News Sunday, Congressman Xavier Becerra, a Democrat from California, said Clinton knows that's her weakness.
She understands that she's got to earn people's trust. She's going to work very, very hard to do that. And I give her credit for saying that she's made some mistakes, and she's going to try to show the American people that she's going to work hard, especially for working families in America, to earn their trust.
Well, the latest Fox News poll shows Clinton's honest and trustworthy numbers at a record low, just 30%, while 50% described her as corrupt. So between the Benghazi report, Bill Clinton's meeting with the Attorney General, and then this interview with the FBI, there have been 3 big events this week. And Leland, all of them revolve around trust.
And you have to wonder what's going to happen to those numbers. Certainly not the messaging that the Clinton folks want heading into the convention in a couple of weeks. Kristen Fisher, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Elizabeth?
Well, Clinton's FBI interview gives new ammunition to her Republican rival, as we just heard. The agency has yet to announce whether Clinton did break the law, but of course that didn't stop Donald Trump from tweeting his verdict. Brian Yennis is here with the very latest. Hi, Brian.
Hi, Elizabeth. Well, look, the Republican National Committee and the presumptive Republican presidential nominee, Donald Trump, are now attacking on 2 fronts. One is Hillary Clinton's interview with the FBI yesterday. Secondly, President Bill Clinton's private meeting with Attorney General Loretta Lynch. The chairperson of the RNC, Reince Priebus, releasing a statement yesterday saying the FBI interview just emphasizes that Mrs. Clinton is not fit to be president because she's the target of a serious criminal investigation over use of a private email server as Secretary of State. Priebus stating, quote, that the FBI wanted her for questioning reinforces her central role in deliberately creating a culture which put her own political ambitions above State Department rules and jeopardized our national security. Meantime, Trump is seemingly already predicting that Clinton will not be indicted by the FBI, tweeting, it was just announced by sources that no charges will be brought against crooked Hillary Clinton. Like I said, the system is totally rigged. Trump and Republicans are capitalizing on the private meeting between Lynch and Mr. Clinton on her plane. The meeting has been widely criticized, given that Lynch heads the Justice Department, which is leading a criminal investigation against his wife. So if Mrs. Clinton is not indicted, Trump and the RNC are pointing to this private meeting as proof that the investigation was biased and compromised. The RNC stating, quote, when the Attorney General meets secretly with Bill Clinton just days before Hillary's interrogation is conducted discreetly over a holiday weekend, it raises serious concerns about special treatment. Trump went on to tweet, it is impossible for the FBI not to recommend criminal charges against Hillary Clinton. What she did was wrong. What Bill did was stupid. It is clear, Elizabeth, regardless of the FBI's decision to indict or not to indict Mrs. Clinton, Republicans and Mr. Trump are not going to let this go away.
Liz?
All right, we didn't think so. Brian Yennis, thank you so much. Leland has more.
Safe bet there. Here for a closer look, fair and balanced debate as well. David Payne, partner with Vox Global, and Garland Nixon, radio talk show host. Gentlemen, nice to see you. David, picking up where Kristen left off, and for that matter, where Brian left off as well. Hillary Clinton's honest and trustworthy numbers all-time low, 30%. Can they go any lower, or is there a floor here, you think, Garland?
Personally, I don't know that they can or can't go any lower, but I just think that the Democratic Party has to take into account what's going on here. We're operating from a paradigm in which Hillary Clinton is the presumptive nominee. She doesn't have enough numbers, doesn't have enough delegates, and she hasn't clinched it. And I think the party really has to start considering some of the other options.
Some of the other options, plan B, is either Bernie Sanders or conceivably Joe Biden. Some people have been saying John Kerry. At some level, David, if the Democrats go that direction, is it better for them to run against a bruised and battered Hillary Clinton with the email scandal hanging around her neck, possibly an indictment or not, or that other option?
Well, it's not unthinkable for the Democrats to start thinking about another option. The convention is still ahead of them. They've got plenty of campaign time left on the calendar. And look, there's this culture of cover-ups and a culture of lies that we're seeing emerge in over the past year of Hillary Clinton's campaign. And that's not going away either. The news coverage of it is going to intensify, and more people are going to be paying more attention to it. Look, if you believe that a YouTube video led to a surgical terrorist strike against our embassy, or that the Clintons were dead broke when they got out of the White House, or that Clinton never sent any confidential information in her private email server, obviously there's a word for people like that, gullible, or they're ignoring it.
Well, Garland, to David's point, though, we heard Hillary Clinton yesterday on MSNBC with Chuck Todd saying, "I've never received or sent any material marked classified," and then went on to talk about this being a security review. We both know those statements are absolutely false, and the question becomes, when is it that Hillary Clinton, rather than spinning, is going to sort of start telling the truth, or is it just impossible for her?
Well, it appears to me that, and in the spirit of transparency, I am a Bernie Sanders supporter, but it appears to me that Hillary Clinton has lost her credibility. Most people don't believe her. Basically, what you get usually from Hillary is some form of lawyer talk to kind of dance around the issues. And I think the party has to realize something. At some point, there are going to be debates. And how do you answer the questions that are going to be asked to Hillary Clinton in the debates? So I think that if we continue to pursue this path, there is a possibility that Donald Trump can be president, and that's something as a Democrat that I don't want to see.
You as a Democrat don't want to see it, but would you be willing to support Hillary if in the end she ends up being the nominee?
I can't say that I will, to be honest with you. I have a lot of, and I've been a Democrat since I was 18 years old and voted straight down the line, and I kind of draw certain lines. And with Hillary, I can't say 100% that I will vote for her. A lot of my, probably even listeners from my radio show may not be happy, but I'm undecided about that.
All right, so David, how do Republicans exploit that? Because for the past month, Trump hasn't been able to. Hillary Clinton numbers are going up. He just can't seem to capitalize on this.
Well, the Republican nominee has weaknesses of his own that he's trying to turn around and somehow change the narrative on. So I don't think that they're going to be immediately able to go after Hillary Clinton. It really is up to the investigators at the FBI. They've got to release their report, their findings, refer it to the Department of Justice. That is when you're going to see Republicans start to really make pronouncements and indicate what they would like to see happen. Whether it's if the FBI does not recommend an investigation, then I think you'll see a lot of Republicans say, "How dare you? It's obviously needed." If there is an investigation, it upends the entire.
We already know there's an investigation. The question is whether there's an indictment or not.
Excuse me, an indictment in a court case. Of course, it'll upend the entire presidential campaign.
Well, as though the presidential campaign hasn't already been upended a few times so far. David, Garland, thanks for being here, guys.
Thank you.
All right. And stay tuned right after this for another showing of Fox News Sunday. Shannon Bream interviews Congressman Xavier Becerra, one of Clinton's strongest congressional allies. You just heard a soundbite from that in Kristen's report, and a possible running mate. It airs right after this at 2 p.m. Eastern, again, 6 p.m.
This is the Fox News alert. Terror in the Middle East. In Baghdad today, a pair of bombings killed at least 115 people, including 15 children. Nearly 200 others have been wounded. The White House condemning the attacks in a statement, writing, "This will, quote, only strengthen our resolve to support Iraqi security forces." Kitty Logan is in our London studio with the very latest. Hi, Kitty.
Hi, Elizabeth. Well, the worst of these deadly attacks happened right in the centre of Baghdad, just as people were coming out onto the streets in the early hours of Sunday morning to break their daytime Ramadan fast. Now, it was especially busy in this shopping mall as people preparing for the upcoming Eid holiday when a suicide bomber drove a truck loaded with explosives into this crowded area just after midnight. And one reason why there were so many casualties is because people had little chance to escape this fireball. They were trapped in buildings burning in the aftermath of the explosion. Now, this morning, rescue services were still recovering bodies from the wreckage of burned-out buildings, and as they do so, that death toll continues to rise. Many people still missing. Now, ISIS has claimed responsibility for this carnage in a statement posted online. It says it deliberately targeted Shia Muslims, as it has done so many times in the past. These latest attacks sadly shows ISIS is determined to fight on despite those recent losses in Fallujah. If you remember, Iraqi forces pushed back ISIS fighters out of that city just last week, but that apparently has not stopped the group carrying out such attacks of horrific violence. And as you say, the White House condemning this attack today, saying, quote, "It only strengthens our resolve to support Iraqi security forces as they continue to take back territory from ISIS." Now, of course, Elizabeth, there have been several suicide bombings in Iraq in recent months, but it could be that this turns out to be the most deadly in a decade. And also, it comes just days after ISIS carried out mass attacks in other cities, such as Istanbul and Dhaka. Elizabeth.
All right, Kitty Logan reporting live. Devastating. Thank you so much.
Today is the first of 2 days of national mourning in Bangladesh following Friday's terror attack in the capital city of Dhaka that killed at least 20 people. Mourners placed flowers and candles near the popular restaurant where the terrorist struck. Security officials in Bangladesh are searching the area for evidence that closes off a lot of streets there as well. Bangladesh insists the 5 attackers were from a banned domestic group, not ISIS, although ISIS has claimed responsibility.
We're learning more about the innocent 3 students enrolled at U.S. universities who were killed in the Bangladesh terror attack. Binta Kabir was a rising sophomore at Emory University studying liberal arts. Kabir was born in Bangladesh, but she lived in Miami. She was visiting family and friends in Dhaka. Faraz Hossain, a junior at Emory, was from Dhaka, and he was visiting home when the terrorists attacked. He was a student at the university's business school. Tarishi Jain, a 19-year-old student at UC Berkeley, was living and working in Dhaka for a summer internship. Jain, an Indian national, planned on majoring in economics.
All gone too soon. The Muslim holy month of Ramadan ends Tuesday, but extremists use that month to lead a murderous trail in at least 6 countries, besides the Bangladesh attacks. Take you back through it. Gunmen stormed the Istanbul airport in Turkey Tuesday, taking at least 44 lives. ISIS is being blamed for that, though they have not claimed responsibility. Also the same day, in Jordan, a suicide attack killed 7 security forces along the country's Syrian border. A day earlier, suicide bombers blew themselves up in a Lebanese Christian village, killing 5 people. Monday, 43 lost their lives in a similar attack in southern Yemen. And of course, the West is not immune. The man who killed 49 people at the Pulse nightclub in Orlando 3 weeks ago said ISIS and other Islamic extremists inspired that rampage.
All right, let's change gears. We want to hear from you. How are you celebrating this Independence Day weekend? Tweet us a picture at Elizabeth Pran or at Leland Vittert, or of course at ANHQDC. Don't forget to use the hashtag #ProudAmerican. We're going to show a few of those photos later in the show.
No rest for firefighters out west. 12 wildfires are burning in California alone. An update on those blazes and the toll they are taking, including a number of homes after the break. And amid security concerns this holiday weekend, the FBI collars a terrorism suspect out in Phoenix. Live report on exactly what happened and what he wanted to blow up. Plus, security is tight at venues here in Washington and across the nation ahead of July 4th. But where are the holes in our safety net? Tom Rogan's going to break that down.
When you look at the potential for an attack in the United States, what I'm afraid of is that these attacks like you saw in Orlando, like you saw in San Bernardino, are going to become the norm.